Hello, I'm Bruce Zimmerman, and this is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week. Ornamental grasses. We did an earlier one. This is part 2. And where I'd like to start is with the neat-looking one, the Northern Sea Oats. Now, what I like about this is that it's sort of droopy, looks like oats, has some varieties that are very colorful and interesting. And as a result, I think these ones are a little underused in the landscape. Now, Northern Sea Oats has the flat green spikelets on slender stems that hang and droop and dangle like jewels and move very nicely in the wind. They're green in the summer, but they change to a reddish-brown bronze in the winter. They like fertile, well-drained soil, and there are some nice varieties in here. River Mist is a nice one. It's hardy to zone 5. Its interest is from July to September. It has striking green and white variegated foliage that makes the grass showy as well. The white seed heads hang in loose clusters, so definitely something a little more decorative in your garden. So look for that one, is for sure. Now, the next one is Deschampsia. This one is a tufted hairgrass, and it's hardy to zone 4 in most cases. Its flowers are silvery, bright green, or purple. They have several colors occurring together. It makes it very versatile. It looks good in a border or even in a rock garden. It's going to be 60 centimeters tall, and the leaves are sort of that dark green, creating rounded sort of appearance. Really quite nice, with its main interest in May through June. There are some other varieties. There is a gold variety, which is a semi-evergreen, and it's got sort of a mound of medium green leaves. It's tall, light, airy, the yellow flowering spikes, and its height is 30 inches, spreads about 12, and really quite interesting in the fact that it's a little more semi-evergreen. Means that it's going to look a little nicer farther into the fall. Northern Lights, well, what can I say? It's the variegated foliage again, so go for it there. And these are a little more interesting. These are no ones you don't see all the time. Now, the one you do see all the time, and there's a million of them, is, of course, Miscanthus. Now, Miscanthus generally is how shall I put this? A weed. It can be very aggressive. It can be very difficult to go and get out or divided. Okay, that's what you need to know first of all, that it is difficult to go and divide. And so let's take a look at that one first, okay? Miscanthus, and there are many different kinds, but the one that everyone sort of gets really impressed with is Giganticus. It's very tall. It's hardy to zone 4. It gets to be 3 meters tall. 3 meters? Yeah, right. So you have to have the space, the size for it. This is almost like a shrubby tree, or small tree for the garden. Its interest is September through November, being very tall, has dark green leaves. It's one of the last of the Miscanthus to bloom, so pushing in the zones to zone 5, you may find that there are years when the show comes very, very late for us in our garden, which actually, if you think about it, it's not a bad thing. The flowers are white and they're 50 centimeters long. It likes to be moist and well-drained soil. Now, I grow most of my Miscanthus on modified clay soil, and this sort of holds them back a little bit. But if you've ever tried to divide one, be rested. Use a steel spade, a steel shovel, an axe, a root and sod knife for the soil that goes through soil and roots, and take your time, patience. It is going to try your patience. And trust me. There is also the Amur silvergrass. It's hardy to zone 4. It's going to be 1 3/4 meters high. Its interest is in August and October, or August to October. It is an orange rust in autumn, which adds more winter interest. It's a little smaller than some, but it's got narrow leaves and ideal for using in arrangements and for drying. So that's interesting right there. Miscanthus sinensis, probably the largest group of miscanthus used ornamentally today. There are millions of them. Well, I shouldn't say millions, but there's a lot. And so you can pick and choose. And sometimes it's difficult to tell, unless you're looking at them and you really know your grasses, which one is which. Adagio is the first one I'd like to do. It's 1 1/4 meters tall. Hardy to zone 5. Interest is September and October. It's considered a dwarf cultivar. It has pink inflorescence in August, which turn white as it progresses. Thin silvery gray foliage in an upright clump, and red stems fall in winter. Interest. Okay. Andante is another Miscanthus sinensis. It is only hardy to zone 6. It's 2 meters tall, so you're looking at 7 feet. And August to October is the interest. The green leaves are pronounced with a central stripe that makes an interesting effect in the garden. It has a slightly weeping effect, so it sort of cascades over. It'll take a little bit of room. The pink flowers turn silver and add interest in the fall of the year. Arabesque is interesting in the fact that it's more compact. It lives in any soil. There you go. It has a very narrow clump of green leaves and silver veins. It's compact, and it is a warm season grass, so it likes the warmth. August to October, put this one in where you're not sure if there is good, rich, well-drained soil for most miscanthus. Autumn light, this one's okay. It's hardy to zone 4. It's not my favorite. It's arching form. It's good yellow fall color. It's fine. It has thin leaves with silver midrib. It's very hardy. Its interest is in September. And I've grown it once, and to be honest with you, it's no longer in my garden. It didn't do anything for me. And there's so many others that you can pick and choose from. But it didn't like, of course, my clay soil. Miscanthus sinensis autumn red. This one is spectacular in the fall. It's hardy to zone 4. It's about 4 to 5 feet tall. August and September is its interest. It's showy red to purple foliage. I like that, by the way. Straw yellow flower spikes. It's a compact grower, so it's nice and neat. Fits well into small garden spaces, and it likes average to moist soils. Now, this one is a lot better. This one, a lot of gardeners can actually utilize. There's Miscanthus Berlin, which his interest is in August. The foliage and stems are blue-green. The white midrib, gold blooms that sort of go into white, which persist into winter. So a little more winter interest than some. I like that one. Then there's Miscanthus Blooming Wonder. It's a massive bloomer with narrow blue-green foliage, pink blooms, good compact form, and once it's established, it is drought tolerant. Its interest is August to October, and it's about 4 to 5 feet tall when it's mature. That one, in my opinion, is better than many others. There is another one, Cabaret. This one is broad green blades accented with a wide cream-colored stripes down the center. That in itself makes it a good one for me. It's only hardy to zone 5. It's going to be at least 6 to 7 feet tall. Interest, September to October. In my garden, because of the poor clay soil, it's shorter. Okay? And it appears with the reddish pink plumes in the summer and remains effective all winter. The stems actually become pink. So, well worth a look at for your garden. Cosmopolitan is another one I do like. This is hardy to zone 5. It gets to be 2 meters tall, but not in my garden. Well, in a good year, yeah, okay, it does. And in the right location, etc. Wide, robust leaves, creamy white and green variegation. The silk tassels have different heights and coloration. Sort of winter interest is it's a little more beige. And the seeds and the plumes are well above the plant. I like this one. And I've divided this one a couple of times. It's a royal pain to divide and needs to be divided. It gets a dead center like most of the ornamental grasses and old perennials, that donut effect. So you have to go in and chop it up from the outside and get rid of the center, the dead center. Needs to be done, I would say, every 3 to 5 years, depending on your rate of growth. Dixieland. I love this one. Everybody wants me to give them a piece of Dixieland, and so far nobody's gotten any. Hardy to zone 5. It's about 4 to 5 feet tall in my garden. It made that the first year, and after that it started to adjust into my heavier soils, and it usually gets about 3 feet. It is wide, it is cascading, and it's arching and takes up quite a room. Variegation, green leaves with lots of white in them in the stripes. The reddish flowers come late. They're more of a tassel inflorescence in late summer. And it is definitely one of the ones that you need to take a look at. It's tolerant of summer heat and humidity, which is perfect for here in Niagara, and I do love it. Interest is all the way through the growing season, but August to November is the best. These are just some of the ornamental grasses that are available to you, and there are many, many more. I'm Bruce Zimmerman. This is the Open Line Garden Show podcast for this week.